Honorable mentions. And these, because at least in these next few movies I'm going to rattle off, I'm going to rattle these off, and because we'll be here all night.
Yeah.
We've covered 1, 2, 3, 4 of these films. So not going to elaborate too much. If I had a top 10, these would be in there somewhere. I just did top 5 just to keep it nice and tight. Abigail. Had a blast with it. We reviewed that early in the year in a live episode. Fun vampire film. Lots of teeth and blood in that movie. That was a lot of fun. Late Night with the Devil. Which, if I had to put a number 6, I think it would be that film. Something
It actually is my number 6.
There you go. Something in my top 5 kicked it off the top 5. Love Late Night with the Devil. Saw that with you. We did a review of that as well. Here's one that I was on the fence because it's technically not horror. It's sort of genre, kind of horrific. Civil War.
Okay. I forgot about that, but that was good. But
not really horror, but
horrific.
Horrific and, you know.
It's horror in the same way
end
that
of
watching
the world
the news is a horror movie.
It's like about the end of the world, and obviously it's called Civil War, so it's the United States, you know, a lot of abandoned roads and stuff. So it's like a zombie movie without the zombies. The humans are the zombies in this film. I really like that. Kirsten Dunst is phenomenal.
She was great
in that that one scene. Again, spoiler, spoiler witch. Her husband,
I had a little witch, I'd pull it.
Her husband, that one scene he's in, you know, that I forget his name. I don't have it in my notes, but her husband's actually in the film. The scene where he has the most blonde guy with the mustache with the gun.
Is that really? I didn't know that.
Kirsten Dunst's husband.
I did not know that.
That scene was so tense.
That was great.
When they kill the two guys, like that was great. Just a great kind of apocalyptic.
He's from.
He was in Black Mirror. He was in a bunch of stuff.
Yes, the USS, whatever.
The Star Trek one, yeah. Yep. So that was a great film, great performance. Again, not horror, but horror-esque in kind of. Again, it's like a 28 days later movie without zombies. The humans are the kind of zombies. Next one on the list would be high on my top 10, below 5, but high in the top 10. We didn't talk about this one at all. As well, Alien Romulus.
Okay.
Loved. Jesse Plemons. There we go, Lauren. Thank you so much. That was his. I was about to say Jesse something, but I thought I was going to be
I did not know his name
wrong.
At all.
He was great. It's such a small role in Civil War, but he is like a creep and like what you expect someone like that to be. It's a phenomenal performance. But yeah, Alien Romulus. Loved it. Got the popcorn bucket. It's behind my head. It's not lit up right now.
It was a stupid movie, but it was so much fun.
So much fun.
Fun as hell.
Fun.
Yes.
I've watched it. I watched it again when it was up on Disney Plus or Hulu or whatever. Great, a good installment in the Alien franchise. And I Fede Alvarez, I always have a good time with his stuff.
Oh, he's a great director.
He's a great director. Guy does not direct enough, if I'm being honest. He's only directed like 4 movies, and he's been around forever. It's bizarre.
Another one, like Robert Eggers, the fact that he's done so little and he's so good at what he does already is just amazing.
Dude, that anti-gravity scene when she's like shooting them, so good in Alien Romulus. She was a great final girl, or Ripley offshoot or whatever they want. And the guy that played her brother, the android, the cybernetic guy, he was great in the movie. I really like the Alien Romulus. It would be like maybe 6, 7. It'd be fighting with Late Night with the Devil there for 6 or 7. Here's another one that kind of came out of nowhere, and I randomly put it on. Really enjoyed it. I think it did nostalgia right, and I think they sort of created a pretty eerie character in the main kind of big bad in the film, kind of Freddy Krueger-esque, Mr. Crockett.
Okay.
I really like that.
Yep.
I think
it was somewhere between Candyman and Freddy
and
Krueger.
Freddy Krueger and Mr. Like obviously Mr. Rogers was
obviously
massive.
Mr. Rogers, but yeah. As far as a villain, yes, it was a Candyman cross with Freddy Krueger. Yeah, totally.
They did a great job with setting up that world and setting up like the tape and the
I
character
saw
and him.
2 movies with that guy this year.
Yeah, I saw 2 as well.
What was the other one?
The other one was the Killer Pumpkin movie. It's not Husk, Carved.
That was
which
fun.
is on my list. Which is on my list too.
I knew you'd like. I think I told you to watch that.
Yeah. So Mr. Crockett, just a really fun kind of Freddy Krueger-esque, Candyman-esque film that does the nostalgia 90s, 80s sort of vibes right. That would be probably in my lower half as well. Here's another big one, Cuckoo, which we talked about. Cuckoo was fantastic. We did a full episode on that one, so go check that out.
Yep.
Carved, I have that here. The Killer Pumpkin movie. That was just stupid fun.
It was so much fun though.
It was
so
dumb,
much fun.
Dumb fun. That's what that was. That was just, it's literally a Killer Pumpkin film. If the listeners you've not heard of this movie, it's a great Halloween watch. They did a fantastic job with kind of the Halloween atmosphere, and the fact that it's a killer jack-o'-lantern pumpkin is hysterical. Some of the effects work they do with it kind of crawling around and like the vines for hands and grabbing people and ripping their head off, so ridiculous, but I loved it. VHS Beyond, I actually really enjoyed I know you didn't like it. I really enjoyed.
I think one of the stories was good, and the rest I was.
I really enjoyed the latest. I've actually been looking forward every year to the VHS movies. I mean, I've liked them
all of them. This is the first one I did not like.
I didn't like the last one. I really like this one. So
I don't think, which was the last one? Viral?
It was like 19. I think it was the 1985.
Oh, I like that. Viral is the only one I haven't seen.
I liked parts of 85. I think Beyond, in my opinion, Beyond was better. I liked the whole like body horror science fiction twist.
Oh, I mean,
aliens that they tried to do with it. So the Mike Flanagan, Kate Siegel, the one that they worked on, his wife directed, and I think Mike Flanagan wrote it. That was my favorite segment. You know, a spoiler.
Is that the one with the dog?
No, that's the one that she gets stuck on the plane and she keeps getting hurt, and it keeps like fixing her wounds, and then a spider's on there and it ends up mixing her with the spider and all this. That was twisted. Great segment.
It had great effects. The movie had
thought the whole
special
film
effects, but the stories just didn't land for me.
I get it. 2 more, and the next one we already covered, In a Violent Nature. That was amazing. I thought that was a lot of fun. I mean, we went in depth on that film as well. I thought that would be higher, but there's a couple of other movies when I really sat and thought about it that I liked more. But In a Violent Nature was amazing. One more that came out late this year that I am a sucker for is Yule Log Part 2.
Oh.
So, dude, the first Yule Log movie, this is the Adult Swim.
I just got the Blu-ray. I'm so happy. I didn't even realize they were going to release it, and I grabbed it.
Adult Swim releasing these random killer Yule Log movies that are so bizarre and feel like something lifted out of a nightmare, and they're so weird. It's like all dream logic, weird shit. Fantastic.
Yep.
And I'm going to say, a hot take here, controversial take here. I'm picking the Yule Log over Art the Clown. I'm picking the killer Yule Log.
I don't disagree with that at all. Art the Clown is cool, but Yule Log, I want more Yule Log.
I want more Yule Log.
Yep.
I want that goddamn log to smash more people's heads in.
You know what? I feel like part 1 to 2 is kind of like Happy Death Day 1 to part 2, where it went in a different direction because they decided to spoof a different style of film,
which is amazing.
They nailed the Hallmark movie of part 2. They fucking nailed it,
dude. It becomes a giant. It goes inside. Oh wait, spoiler! If you haven't seen Yule Log 2, the log enters the grandma and then turns into a giant fucking log. It's amazing. It's so stupid, awesome. But it's great. I love it. Yeah. That's my last kind of honorable mention. It just shows
the writers at Adult Swim are just genius. They really are. There's a bunch of genius writers there.
I mean, dude, and
they are doing. Adult Swim is doing for, I guess the cult film. What Pixar did for family movies.
No, of course.
Where they have that same level of consistent quality. And they just nail the tone of what they're looking for every single time. Now, that doesn't mean to say that I like everything, but what they do, they are great at it. You know, I'm not a Pixar person either, but they are fucking great at that.
You know how I knew I would love Yule Log? When I found out it was the people behind Too Many Cooks. The same
Oh
guy.
yeah.
And I love
Yeah.
Too Many Cooks. It's one of my favorite Adult Swim
Yes.
segments. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna love this. And I do love both Yule Log. And one last thing on Yule Log so we can move on. Not enough people talk about it.
No.
Not I'm in the horror
It's the totally under the
community.
radar thing.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
do not hear a lot of people talking about Yule Log. And I'm like, dude, these are horror films. They're bloody. They're great. And they're so weird,
Yep.
well made. I just don't get. I just don't get why more people aren't talking about the two Yule Log movies and their holiday movies, holiday horror films.
They are.
Which, you know, there's a lot of holiday horror films, but there aren't that many. So I feel like Yule Log needs more kind of love. I mean, it's just, they're just fun. I'm sitting there like, this is a ridiculous movie, but the concept is genius. I loved it. I watched part 2 and then put part 1 right on afterwards when I found out. And it came out of nowhere.
Randomly, yeah.
Just like the first one.
I saw it the day it showed up. I was like,
Yeah.
wait, they did a part 2?
Yeah.
Oh, I got it. Got to see it.
So
I watched it immediately.
So that's my last honorable mention because I feel like we'll be here forever. All right, a couple honorable mentions from you, Manny.
Okay, so we haven't talked about any of these on the show
Perfect.
yet.
I probably haven't seen half of them, from being
You
honest.
probably haven't either.
Yes.
Last Straw went up
Okay.
on Shudder a little while ago. Excellent movie about it's a girl working
I
in a
saw
diner.
the art for it. I haven't watched it yet.
The girl working in a diner. It's a home invasion in a diner.
Okay.
You know, and there's some weird twists to it of what happens, and I thought it was really good, nice survival horror film. Really cool. The lead girl does a great job. There's even a nice little dance sequence, reminds me of House of the Devil.
Oh, cool.
You know, got a cool little scene like that, which is really good. Monolith. Now, Monolith is very, very unique film. We all listen to podcasts.
Yeah.
We all listen to true crime podcasts. Okay. This is a movie that is a true crime podcast in the form of a movie. The entire film takes place in the apartment of the one girl as she's recording the podcast. She is the only person in the film.
Okay.
And the podcast, the interviews, you hear everybody on the telephone because she's trying to unravel this mystery of this weird thing that happened. It's more of a sci-fi. It's horror sci-fi. There's this thing that went missing, whatever. I don't remember the details of it, so I don't want to screw it up. But basically, you can watch this movie and listen to it. Yes, that's it. It is a podcast in movie form.
I have to check it out. That sounds up my alley. I gotta.
Yeah, like 80% of the movie, it's just her sitting in front of a microphone,
just listening,
and you're and her talking to people in the interviews of unraveling the mystery of this box. That's what it is. It's a black box. You know, of where is this black box, and she finds out that there's others in the world. So she talks to people who have this black box and figure out what it is, where it came from, and what it does to the owner. So,
that sounds, I'm gonna have to give this a listen. I'll give this a listen, give this a watch.
Yes, yes, super interesting film.
Yeah.
Double Blind. It's another sci-fi film. It's a group of people. It's like Russian sleep experiment. It's a group of people who are given an experimental drug that's going to keep them from sleeping for a while. And the people running the experiment decide to extend it on them.
Okay.
It's very Russian sleep experiment. It's got that vibe to it. It's really, really cool, twisted sci-fi flick. And it goes a little, I'm not going to say Lovecraftian, but it has that feel.
Okay.
You know? Faceless After Dark is a slasher film. It's with the girl from the first Terrifier film.
Oh, I think I saw the art for this too somewhere.
Probably.
Yeah.
She plays in this movie. She is a horror film actress. Okay. And essentially she gets tired of being treated like a piece of meat by all these shitty boy fans. All the guys and the people, the men who treat actresses like they owe them something. She gets fucking sick of it and starts killing them. Okay. That is the simplest way to put it. I think any actress out there should see this movie because it is all how
interesting
they feel.
Premise.
Yes. And it's really good. It's nice and bloody. You know, it's another one, mostly single location. It's mostly her in her apartment, you know, but there are other actors or other things. So she goes to an audition and, you know, builds up to it. But she does a great job in it, you know, and Yeah, it's a nice film that's kind of gone under the radar. And let me see. And then I'll do one more here because I'm going to do two more. One is I Don't Understand You, which has not been released yet, and I don't understand why. I
Okay.
saw this at Overlook Film Fest. It is by the two guys who do a Big Mouth.
Okay.
It's the two main guys in that too. They're playing a gay couple.
I think did you mention this when we talked about your
probably have
experience at
some,
Overlook
yes.
early? That
Oh,
was early in the
definitely,
year. Yeah.
It's a horror comedy in the vein of Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
Okay.
Where it's a horror film by accident for the people involved.
That sounds funny. Tucker and Dale's great.
Yeah, exactly. The point of the film is I Don't Understand You. They're a gay couple who are on a bit of a vacation. They go to, I think, Italy, and they don't speak Italian, and they end up in this weird situation where people start dying around them simply because they can't understand what each other are saying. So just a series of misunderstandings leads to a really bloody dinner night. And it's absolutely hilarious, and it's Nick Kroll and I can't remember the other guy's name, but the two of them play the couple, and it's great. It has not been released yet.
I'm sure someone will pick it up and distribute it.
I don't understand how
Weird,
it hasn't. I mean, we saw it at Overlook, and that was in April. That was its second screening. It didn't screen again at another festival until I think Fantasia over the summer in July. And it's had like one more festival screening.
Having trouble getting distribution, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah, it's so weird. That and Hoodwitch, which is another one I really enjoyed.
I think I remember you mentioning those during the Overlook episode we did a few months ago.
They were two of my favorites.
Yeah, that was earlier in the year or middle of the year, I think, right?
So I didn't want to get into it too much because it hasn't been released yet. Hopefully it'll be this year and people will get to see it.
Yeah.
So I don't want to get, too. And then there's The Coffee Table. This movie, I've been hearing about it for about a year and a half now, from people who saw screeners or they saw it at a festival, as being the most intense, disturbing film they have ever seen.
Wow.
And
can you vouch for that? Is it disturbing?
They are not entirely wrong.
Oh, wow. Okay. I got to watch this. They are
not wrong. It's on Tubi.
Oh, it is. So you can watch this right now.
It finally went to Tubi about a month ago.
Also, it came out late in the year too. Okay.
Yes. It went to DVD early in 2024.
Okay.
It was on DVD, and I was waiting for it to go somewhere because I'm like, I don't know if it was only DVD. I don't think it was on Blu-ray. It was a DVD release. When I tell you, you know how they describe it as edge of your seat?
Yeah.
60 minutes of the edge of your seat. You are sitting there I sat like this for about 40 minutes straight.
Wow. So it's that intense.
It's not intense in the way that you would expect intense. It's not an irreversible intense.
No, I'm not expecting something like that.
No, it's not. That's what I mean. It's different. The whole one thing happens. There is I'm going to tell people don't read up on it. Just see it if you can see it.
No spoiler witch here.
Do not spoil this. No. One event happens. One really fucked up thing happens. And the rest of the movie is you sitting, waiting for the characters to find out it happened. And they keep getting closer, and then they pull back. And they get closer, and they pull back from it again. So you're just teetering on this edge of when are they going to see it?
All right, you've said too much.
That's what the whole movie is. It's just this anxiety, like feeling in the center.
Oh man, I can't wait to watch this. I'm gonna watch this week. Yeah, The Coffee Table. It's called The Coffee Table.
The Coffee Table.
That's a great title too.
Yeah, it's a Spanish film. My review is The Coffee Table will ruin your fucking life.
Wow.
You've never sat in such anxiety.
And this is not, you're not hyping it up, right? This is legit fantastic.
I've told 2-3 people already to watch it, and they were like, you're not fucking kidding.
Wow. I'm not hearing anything about this film.
Yeah, because it did a bunch of festivals. Some people think it's boring. because it's just that anxiety. And I'm going to say, I think that watching it on Tubi does it a disservice because the commercials break the tension.
Ah, yeah, I could see that. There's a lot of
Yeah.
movies when you watch them, the commercials just kind of kill the whole vibe.
I did. Vinegar Syndrome just released it, and I bought the Blu-ray immediately. As soon
Different
as it went up, I
experience.
fucking bought it.
I might have
So
to borrow that from you then to
I
watch
would
it.
suggest I
Yeah.
would totally let you borrow it.
Yeah.
I totally, it's because Lynn hasn't watched it yet either.
Okay.
So I would say, you
Come
know what,
by,
why don't you come
yeah.
over and we'll just watch it again.
I mean, I'm curious. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes, it is a great, great film.
I
but
mean,
it's
you're right, because Tubi, it'll be like an Ozempic commercial, right
Yeah.
when something's about to happen. I'm
Yeah,
like,
pretty
what
much.
the
That's
hell?
exactly what happens.
Yeah.
Yes.
It drives me crazy when you're watching
Yeah.
a movie and it's like a detergent commercial. It's like a Tide commercial right when someone
Totally.
gets murdered
It
in the
breaks
movie.
the tension. So if you can watch it on a Blu-ray, DVD, solid without commercials.
It's a good recommendation because I haven't even heard about this movie.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm
I've
going to
been
check
hearing
it
about
out.
it for a while, and I'm
Okay.
like, this most disturbing film. I got to see this.
Yeah.
It's a different type of disturbing than what would normally be described
Yeah.
as disturbing.
I got to check it out.
So those, Coffee Table, Don't Understand You, and then Immaculate, because you already said Late Night with the Devil. Immaculate's in my top 10 for the year, along with Late Night with the Devil.
I liked Immaculate, but there was another woman pregnant with Satan's baby movie that I enjoyed more of that I'm going to get into soon.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I dug Immaculate. I like Sydney Sweeney like most
liked this one
men
better.
do. And she's great in the movie. Like, I just feel like she is a really good actress too. And I was surprised. Like, it was a weird performance for her because I watched her on Euphoria and she's great on that. And so I was like, oh, this is cool that it's kind of a different role for her. I do really like the ending of Immaculate though. That scene where, one second.
The scream,
The scream of with the rock and all the you don't ever see what it is.
Nope.
Like I
I
enjoyed.
said Immaculate. This is Sydney Sweeney's Midsummer.
Yeah,
That's what this
it was
is.
a very
This is her
good movie.
Midsummer.
Yeah, it was a good movie. I don't have it high. I probably have it like number 11, if I'm being
Okay.
honest,
This is my number
or
7.
12.
of the year.
It'd be like below top 10. Yeah, I mean she's great in it. Like I said, the ending is what did it for me. I think
There was a
that's
moment in
where,
the movie that took me by surprise
Yeah.
when I realized what year it was.
Hmm.
Did you catch that? What year does Midsummer does
No.
Immaculate take place in?
I
What's
don't
the
know.
decade?
I didn't even think about it.
What's the decade? Take a guess.
70s, 80s?
Nope.
What year?
Now.
Yeah, there's no cell
That takes
phones in
place-
it.
There is one cell phone.
Is
and
there?
That is the
I've
only
only seen it
time.
once.
There is a scene when they capture her and she's in the car. She's in the back seat. The guy's in the front seat and he pulls out a cell phone. And I said, wait a minute, what fucking year is this? I thought this was like the 50s. And suddenly he pulls out a cell phone. And it's modern day.
I didn't
Blew
honestly.
me the fuck away.
When I watched the movie, I didn't even I didn't think about what decade it took place in. So
Apartment 7A, Creatures of the Night says, that did come out this year, and I felt the same way about that I felt about the Salem's Lot. It was dull. They weren't bad, they were just dull. 7A was, you enjoyed it? Okay, yeah.
I didn't even watch
I was
it.
looking forward to that one too. Dionne
no.
Weist is great in it. She's great. She plays Minnie Castevet very differently.
okay.
But the guy playing Roman Castevet nails it. He plays it exactly as the original.
I love, obviously, like most of us love Rosemary's Baby, and I just didn't even bother. I wasn't sure. I kept hearing like people saying it was terrible, but
It's not bad.
No? Okay.
It's just a little boring. See it for yourself. It's one of those where like you might enjoy it, you might not. I don't think it's a bad movie at all. I just found it a little dull.
Yeah.
You know,
It's a Paramount Plus film, right? I think, if I
Yes.
remember correctly.
Yeah.
So I'm glad Creatures of the Night mentioned that because I forgot that movie existed and I have not seen it. So
Yeah.
I completely forgot about the Rosemary's Baby prequel.
I say give it a try because
yeah.
you might really like it.
I mean, I love the original, so give it one chance.
I could see that. He didn't realize it was Rosemary's Baby prequel.
Oh
So
wow.
I could see where that might. Okay, you just went in blind with it. Okay, I could see that.
It was a little fun treat, a fun treat to be like, oh shit, this is connected to
Yeah.
Rosemary's Baby.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into the top 5 here, Manny.
Okay,
So we'll go back and forth. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We'll go
Okay.
back and forth. I'll start.
Hmm.
So my number 5 top film of 2024. I I've seen this on a lot of people's top 5, 10 list of the year for good reason. She just won a Golden Globe a couple nights ago for the
Hmm.
performance. Demi Moore, The Substance. Loved it.
Yeah.
I You don't see too many kind of body horror film art house films of this style made these days. Very rare. Similar to Robert Eggers.
Mm-hmm.
This type of film, no one's really making this type of movie. It almost felt like a combination of like a David Cronenberg film and a Black Mirror episode. That's like kind of the way I describe The Substance. Demi Moore, great in the movie. And it's for a film of its caliber, it's not a huge cast. You know, she's great. Margaret Qualley is great in it. It's kind of a reserved role. She doesn't do a whole lot. It's more of a physical role for her. Um, Dennis Quaid in it
Yeah.
is
Some of the grossest
the
scenes.
grossest. The shrimp, him eating shrimp, in my opinion, was grosser
Nasty.
than what happens at the end of the film. Just
Uh-huh.
him munching on shrimp and then smoking a cig. Disgusting. The whole character served its purpose. So
Yep.
I loved it. I loved the ending, how ridiculous it got. I love the concept of a drug that separates you with a younger
Hmm.
version of you, and you have to go back and forth and take care of one another. I dug it. The violence in it was cerebral, brutal. The ending with the big nasty mass that's walking around faces and bone and all skin and all this hair, disgusting. And I will say, Demi Moore deserved that award. She
Did.
was
Did. She
fantastic,
nailed it. She was amazing.
fantastic in the film. So that's my number 5.
Hmm. Okay. Excellent. My number 5 is debatable if you call it a horror film.
Okay.
It is definitely a thriller. 100% is a thriller. It is a true crime. It is debatable if you call it a horror film, but I enjoyed it more than the others, than Immaculate and Late Night with the Devil. I liked it more. There was a better film, and it had the tension, and it was really, really well done. It didn't totally cross into horror. It's a horror film in like a lot of the same way that Silence of the Lambs is a horror film. It just doesn't get as graphic. Woman of the Hour,
Have not seen it.
Anna Kendrick.
I know it's on
Yeah.
Netflix, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
Anna Kendrick starring. It's her directorial debut.
Really wanted to see it.
Hmm.
Completely forgot about it until right now. So
Yeah,
I gotta watch that
excellent.
this week.
Really, really good film. It's a true story about this time that a serial killer was on the dating game in the 70s, and the film it kind of tells both their perspectives, the killer and her. They combined. There's one character that's kind of a combination of a bunch of victims, a bunch of people, rather. But other than that, the rest of the film is almost entirely accurate to what really happened.
From what I've seen, they did a
Almost.
great job with like the
Yeah.
production design. It looks
Oh, it's
like it's
great.
that era
It's
of.
great.
I don't know
And
too
it's
much about the film, so
and it's non-linear storytelling too, which is
okay.
nice. They kind of jump back and forth, so it keeps you a little confused for a while, but very, very good. She's great. He's great. Her direction is perfect. Her
Yeah, that's
her
what I've heard.
directing in that was absolutely perfect. She nailed everything about it. So
I gotta watch it.
that's why I said, you know what? It was better than other horror films of the year.
If it has a
The
serial
story.
killer, it's a horror film, in my opinion. Like a thriller horror.
For the
type.
most part. Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
you'll see it. You'll see what I mean. It doesn't cross totally into being
Mhm.
a horror film. It is a thriller, but it
Yeah.
is borderline horror film. You
Yeah.
know? And she's I think Anna Kendrick is a phenomenal actress.
She's great.
I
Yeah.
think she's very underrated because she does so many like
Those dancing movies that she was
yeah,
in.
she
Pitch
does a lot of
Perfect, I
film.
think. Yeah.
Yeah, she does a
So
lot of stuff like that. But even that, she's most famous because she did one song from that, and that's actually her singing, and she did it. They did the whole music video for it, and she
wow.
sang it, and she did all the choreography and all that. So she is phenomenally, like really ridiculously talented, and I don't think that people have realized it yet. She did that show. Was it called Dummy?
I
Was
never
it?
saw it.
Loved that show.
Never
I
saw
loved that. So anyway, so yeah, Woman of the Hour is my number 5 of the year.
Before I get into my number 4, so Creatures of the Night said, just saw it last week. It was amazing. The last 20 minutes feel like a trauma film. I've heard a lot of people say that him munching on shrimp looks like an early Peter Jackson shot. Yeah, you're right. In Dead Alive. Yeah, it's really, those are the slimiest shrimp I've ever seen. It was disgusting. Number 4, Louis, number 4, top 5 horror films of 2024. You mentioned The Immaculate, women pregnant with Satan's baby. And demons and all kinds of shit. My 4th favorite film of last year, The First Omen. Loved it. I had no expectations going into this movie. It's one of the films I watched when it was streaming on Hulu after the fact and was upset.
I saw it in theaters.
I was upset I didn't go see it in the theater.
I was upset I didn't see Immaculate in theaters.
There you go. So I think, and we mentioned the Rosemary's 7A or whatever, the 7A, the Rosemary's Baby prequel. I think The First Omen does a prequel film justice. I thought it was very well made.
Yeah.
She is great in it.
She is.
She has like a weird like tiger or something. It's like a weird, I forgive me, I sound like an idiot. I don't know her name, but it's like some weird kind of name she has, the lead in that. Great movie. The way it starts, you know, I've seen some people on Letterboxd and, you know, kind of give the movie shit for paying homage to Possession when towards the end, towards the end of the film, when I love that car accident scene.
You know what I see though in it?
What?
I feel like if this had been made back then,
more people would have appreciated it. Probably.
I think Mikel Suavi would have been the director.
Oh yeah.
And this was totally an Italian style.
Oh yeah, dude, that's what I loved about it. I didn't even get to say that yet.
That's what I love. Yeah, I think Mikel Suavi would have done this if this was made in like 81, 82 instead of Omen 2 and 3. Mikel Suavi would have been the one doing it, and it would have been the same movie.
And honestly, I love how it sort of flawlessly leads into the first Omen movie.
Love that
they did a great with the picture and the adopting and all that. I really it was on my list, one of the films that surprised me the most out of all these movies we've mentioned. Well, the ones I've seen, the first Omen surprised me the most. After I watched it, I put it on again like 3 days later. I was just editing and I put it on. Like I really enjoyed the movie. Just kind of the build up, her, you know, showing up. It's her first, she's a new nun and all. And then I watched Immaculate shortly after, and I liked Immaculate, but I thought First Omen, in my opinion, I enjoyed they were
very
different.
Very similar, story, but they did them in different styles.
And they came out around the same time, which is bizarre.
Yeah.
Like weird timing to release both films. But I loved it, man. I'm a huge fan of The Omen. Most people love, who doesn't love The Omen, the original Omen? And I like some of the sequels too. And I just thought they work so well together. And I love the kind of possession scene where she's giving birth or going into labor. Listen, everyone loves Possession. How could you, like, whatever? They were paying homage to that film. I mean, I think enough time has passed where you can pay homage to Possession and not be called like, a knockoff or whatever. You know,
that's also why I say it was a Mikel Suavi style film, because he did stuff like that in the sect and in the church.
Yeah.
You know, he did that kind of stuff to begin with. That had nothing to do with Possession. He did them at the same time as Possession. He was already doing that kind of sexy, gross, demon possessed woman movie to begin. It was his thing.
Yeah. I mean, I could totally see that. I didn't even think about that. I did get the kind of Italian horror vibes from it. More like,
besides the fact that it takes place in Italy.
Yeah. Outside of that, but like even when you watch the original Omen,
it has the pacing of an Italian possession film.
Dude, that scene where she's like giving birth or whatever, like that was a weird, crazy. Yeah. Not the possession, the other one, the other scene. It's like, I don't want to spoil too much about the film because maybe people haven't seen it, but Even though the
But
witch,
it's an Exorcist prequel. It's an Omen prequel. You know what's
what's gonna
she's
happen.
giving birth to.
You know who she's giving birth to. So,
there's gonna be a baby at the
when
end
they
of this.
reveal the name Damien, I'm like, oh, here it is. It's like it's like a superhero movie when the superhero finally shows up. It's like, all right, there's Damien. There is Satan's son. I loved it. It's got a lot of rewatchability. All these films in my top 5, in my opinion, have a lot of rewatchability.
And what's really cool is throughout the course of the film, there's homages to the original Omen as well.
Yeah, I caught that in the second viewing.
They have moments where they set up to make it look like they're about to do the same kills.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh, come on,
right in the beginning of the movie,
we're gonna do the hanging, we're gonna do the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, there's one death that's basically lifted from the Omen, but for the most part, they kind of tried.
Were all there, the glass and the lightning bolt, and they were all kind of set up. Like, oh, wait, nope, not yet, nope, not yet.
Number 4 for you, Manny.
Smile 2.
Haven't seen it.
Smile 2. Phenomenal. Like, I liked the first
I keep hearing it's better than part 1. I did not like part
in
1
every way, shape, and form. I liked the first one.
Okay,
but this is another world. Naomi Scott
she's great, and that's what I keep
another
hearing.
one. She should have been nominated right next to Demi Moore for this.
Yeah,
like, she carries this entire film. What's his name is in it? Who's in every fucking
Don't
movie
spoil
now?
the
Kyle
movie. I haven't seen it yet. Oh, he's in
Kyle
it too?
Gallner.
He was the cop in the first one.
Yes, he starts this movie.
Okay.
So it literally connects to the end of the first one and goes starts with his characters connected.
Someone told me that it's kind of like Terminator 1 and 2. Like, Terminator 1 is awesome, but Terminator 2 is the shit.
Yes.
That's what people are like saying, like
100%.
The comparing the two movies.
Yep.
I was not a huge Smile fan of the first film. So I'll be honest, even when Grimy came on the show with me and we talked about anticipated Halloween stuff, and that was a movie coming out in the Halloween season, I kind of poked fun at it because I didn't like the first one. So I was like, who's going to go see Smile 2?
Yeah.
But
I thought that too when I first started the trailers.
Yeah.
And then I started hearing people saying it was good. I was like, all right, I guess we're going to go see it. And dude, I was blown away. Absolutely blown away by how incredible this really was.
I'm going to have to watch it. I mean, I'm going to put some time aside and watch it. I kept putting it off. So
we've mentioned a couple times this year that we were both, you did a little bit, but I did the 366 challenge this year. And they were all, as a result of that, I watched 131 films that were released in 2024, horror films.
Wow.
131. And that's part of that is where I say, like, where was it? 24. The First Omen is number 24 on my list. And that's just because I saw so many, and some that just, and I really loved the first. I thought it was great, but there's so many that I saw that just overtook it. So for Smile 2 to be at number 4.
Yeah. And that's like a big budget, mainstream, huge film. So
yes.
I gotta watch it. I mean, I have to give Smile another chance. Like, what I'll probably do.
I don't think you need to.
No? Okay.
No, you don't need to.
I was gonna go back watch Smile and watch Smile 2. Okay.
No.
I have seen the 2-hour and change runtime, and I'm like, oh, Smile 2 hours and 10 minutes.
So fucking worth it.
I'm gonna watch it.
So worth it. It's not Trap.
Oh, okay.
It's not Trap.
I have no I don't know anything about Smile 2. Like, I haven't read any reviews, spoilers, nothing. So I'm gonna go in.
I mean, it's the same thing as the first movie. It's this curse that
but I don't know the kills. I don't
kill
know
yourself and shit. Like, that's it. But the whole movie is her losing her
performance
mind over
is the best part.
Amazing.
All right, I'm gonna check it out. All right, my number 3, a movie we talked about at the top of the show that Manny did. It was on Manny's disappointing films of 2024. My number 3, Nosferatu.
Okay.
It worked for me, man. I loved it. I can't wait to watch it again. Beautiful film. Again, I love my mustache Count Orlok with his dick. So I was a fan.
Chris Cocksmith.
Chris Cocksmith. I listen. Everything about the movie worked for me, and I dug it. I just, dude, I don't know. It resonated with me in a way where I was like, this is just a beautiful film. The performances are solid. Again, I'm being redundant now because we talked about it at the top of the show. I feel like I'm defending myself now, but no, that's not the
No
case.
need to defend yourself.
There is
It's
no
fine.
need.
Most people love it. I am in the minority and not enjoying it.
It hit, man. It hit for me.
Fine.
I loved it. Not number one. I think you thought it might have been my number one.
No, I think I know what your
Oh,
number
you think
one.
you know what my number one is?
But that
yeah,
also makes me think I know what your number two is as well.
possibly. So number three, Nosferatu. We'll move on
Yeah.
quick there. What's your number three, Manny?
My number three is The Substance.
Oh, there you go.
Yep, we talked about it. You compared it to what?
I compared it to a Black Mirror, like a David Cronenberg film, and a Black Mirror episode. It kind of felt like.
I said my is Death Becomes Her and The Fly.
Oh, for sure. There you go,
And then
David
in the
Cronenberg.
end, it turns into Freaked.
Yes, which is awesome.
It's Freaked in the end.
Yeah.
But what I did also said, I felt like this is what I wanted out of Maxine.
Oh, it blew Maxine out of the water.
The reason for there being a young Maxine and
Yeah.
old Pearl, this is what I was expecting from that.
Yeah.
Some sort of physical connection between Pearl and Maxine. That's where I thought the movie was going. And this gave me what I was looking for.
I'm sure Ty West, if he watched The Substance, was probably like, son of a bitch. So
My shit.
about an aging actress or aging celebrity. Like,
Yes.
it's.
That's why
It
I
was
say
so good,
Pearl
dude.
ends up being a whole other thing because there was no connection. This is what I was expecting out of Maxine.
The Substance was just a solid script, dude. That was
It
a
was. It was
well-written
solid.
script, and she well deserved. She crushed in the movie. It was so good. I want to watch it again. I've seen it twice. I want to watch it a third time. I haven't had a chance to watch it a third time because it's on that Mubi app. I paid for not even. I got the free subscription. Watched it twice. Canceled the subscription. That's what I did. So
I saw it in theater. I'm so glad we got to see it in theaters.
I didn't get a chance. It was like during the Halloween season, and obviously very busy. I didn't have a chance to go see it in the theater. But as soon as it was on Mubi, I got that one free week to watch it. All right, number two on my list, 2024 top horror films. I'm gonna say that every single time, just because.
Yep, it's fine.
Strange Darling.
Number two. That's my number two.
So we're on the same page. Number two was Strange
We saw that
Darling.
another one we kind of saw together.
No, we did see it together.
We
by
ended up at the
accident.
same theater at the same time, coincidentally.
With the wives. We both showed up with the wives.
Yeah,
and we
Late
ended
Night
up
with the
hanging
Devil,
out.
we went together. This, it was like, oh, wait, we both went to the same screening.
We ended up
coincidentally.
it ended up becoming a hangout that day.
Yep.
Yeah. Dude, the performances from both of them, fantastic. I love the non-linear storytelling. Again, I'm the witch is out. The spoiler witch is out.
no.
But I'm not going to spoil the ending. But it's like almost a mild spoiler. Where it goes and where you think it's gonna go, I love the
different
swerve.
places,
I love the swerve. I feel like it's a spoiler because I'm telling people there's something's gonna happen and swerve you a different direction. I loved it. Beautiful looking movie. Giovanni
what, though?
Ribisi. It was the DP.
I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna say that it is a spoiler, but I don't think it is a spoiler because you're watching it and it does the Pulp Fiction non-linear.
Yeah, it's got the
story.
Tarantino vibe
So
to it.
like as soon as it does that, you're already trying to figure out I figured it out. I figured it out real early, but I didn't care.
Yeah,
It was really well done. I knew it when it happened. I'm like, oh yeah, I saw that coming, but I did not care.
When I say
so
spoiler, I mean it more so in the sense of like the trailers protected the twist.
They did.
Yeah.
They did. But I think that 10 minutes into the movie, you're going to know what the twist is already.
Okay.
Because you already realize they're telling the story out of order.
So
they're
figure it out.
clearly trying to hide something, and you're like, okay, they can only be hiding one of two things, But they tell it so well.
I remember.
I didn't give a shit.
Yeah, I agree. I remember in the theater, I leaned over to the wife at one point, and I was just like, meh, meh, meh. Like I
did the same thing. I did the same thing.
I was like, I already could see where this is going. But regardless, it's still, again, beautiful look. I love the way that movie's shot, dude. And I just think I got a kick out of it being
Oh, it was
Giovanni
great.
Ribisi. It was
I
at
can't
16
believe
millimeter,
Ribisi
right?
did that.
Was it shot
Yeah.
on 16 millimeter? I think, right?
1630. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
They made
something.
they made a thing of it in the beginning that this was
Yeah.
shot on film, and I was like, okay, who gives a
It's a
shit?
very obviously Tarantino inspired vibe. And again, would you call this a horror film? On the fence, but to me, it
Yeah.
was a horror film. It was,
Yes, I think it was.
nothing supernatural, but it's a thriller horror movie.
Yeah.
I thought they carried that whole movie.
They did.
It was just so good, man.
This is like a home invasion, but on the road.
Yes. It
It's
is.
very much a home invasion feel, only in a road movie.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. Even though
Where it's just one person hiding from another. It's got
Dude.
that hitcher, the feel of the hitcher.
the
It
color,
has
yeah,
that.
yes, that's a good comparison. The colors of it is so good. Like I think thinking about it now, and I've only seen it once. I can't wait to watch it again.
Oh, I just got the 4K.
Oh, did you? I gotta buy a copy of it. But the colors, like there's those shots of him with like the red plaid jacket and the gun, like it's just yellow glasses. Like the way it looks is just fantastic. It's just a grand, and her running. It's just like all the shots, like that long shot of her. It's just such a beautiful film, well acted film, solid, simple script.
Yep.
Simple. Sometimes simplicity and not long. Not overly pretentious that it didn't need to be 3 hours long, 2.5 hours. And this is coming from the guy who loved Nosferatu, who was almost that was almost 3
Longer than
hours.
this episode is right now.
Yes,
It's
exactly.
Shorter, not as long as this.
And on that note, on to number one. So we both love Strange Darling. That's both of our number twos. I know our number ones are not going to be the same. My number one, Long Legs.
I knew it. Yeah, I knew that.
So here's why I loved Long Legs. Similar to Nosferatu, Strange Darling, First Omen, Substance, I love the way the movie looks. I think Oz Perkins, I love the way all of his films look.
Yes,
Beautiful.
I love
The
his
color
visual
grading,
style. Yes.
everything about it. Now, Long Legs, we did a full episode, so I won't elaborate too much. I love the marketing behind the film. I love that they kind of hid Nick Cage's appearance and what he looked like in the movie until the film was released. I love the 1-800 number you can call where you can hear his
Yeah, that
voice
was
that
fun.
you told me about. We talked about that on the episode when we covered the movie. Everything about that, in my opinion, lived up to the hype. I loved the movie. I loved just kind of the tension, how you don't know much about her, and then things start to unravel and you realize how much more she is involved. Dude, when you first watch that movie, you have no idea she's even related or involved with anything that's going to happen in the end. And then I loved how bleak and depressing the ending of the film was. Like I loved it. I remember us saying how the Satan stuff could have been used more as a plot device in the film. It's kind of overshadowed by everything else. I love the little images of Satan hidden throughout the movie. You see Satan, you see horns hidden in reflections and shadows and this. Dude, it was one of the movies on this entire list, again, a movie I had to go back and watch. Like I just had to watch it again. Like it's one of those films that it's why I love movies. Like it's just, she's great. Nick Cage is not a huge role in it, but he's so memorable and he feels like a Yule Log Adult Swim character in that movie. It's just a bizarre performance. And I just feel like for the year of 2024, you look at Long Legs, made a kind of a cultural impact. Like the character, obviously the Substance made a cultural impact. And as much as, even though you didn't like it, Nosferatu did as well. Just kind of what it did with horror and pop culture and kind of people that don't watch horror films like we do and are, that's all we watch for the most part, or a good chunk of the stuff we watch is horror. We love horror movies. I feel like this movie was the horror movie of 2024, in my opinion. I'm sure The Substance, there's people that would say The Substance is that. Hence why that's my number 5 and Long Legs is my number 1. I kind of bookended it with them. And I only say that because I watched The Substance later in the year. So maybe it didn't maybe it could have been swapped out for my number one, but I did love those other movies. The other movies have more rewatchability for me than the substance. Yeah, man, I love Longlegs, man. I can ramble on. We already did that full episode, so I dug it, and I know you were disappointed by it. So I'm so curious what number one is. Cuckoo. We talked about it already. I had a feeling. You know what? I mentioned it earlier, and I was like, he hasn't mentioned it yet. It's got to be his number one. I thought maybe it'd be like number three.
We've talked about it on the show twice at this point. This is now the third time.
It's your favorite
I watched it again today, and still absolutely loved it. It's weird. It's strange. Hunter Schafer is awesome. Dan Stevens is awesome. It's just this freaky, odd, just such a weird movie.
It is bizarre.
What I loved. I loved the way they shot it. I love the strangeness of the story. I love all the weird cuckoo of it, like the implanting of the eggs, and it had this kind of body snatchers feel to it. And,
oh, for sure. Towards the end there, especially.
Yeah, that weird sci-fi twist that I always enjoy, that kind of thing. You know, I said I don't want to get too much into it because we have covered it twice at this point already. You know, we covered it once when I watched it at Overlook in April.
And then we did the spoiler.
And then we covered, then we did a whole episode on it because it came out to theaters in August.
I finally got to see it.
So we did a whole episode on it.
I loved it. It's in my top 10. It probably would be on the lower end, obviously, of it. And the only reason why it's not in my top 5 is the ending didn't really hit with me as much. Not the sci-fi stuff. I dug that. But kind of the pacing of the ending was a little weird to me. And I love Dan Stevens. Like, who doesn't love Dan Stevens? Like, he's the best. So, like, for me, it was like, there was just something missing towards the end there for me. I haven't watched it a second time. I have to. I know it's on Hulu. I've been meaning to revisit
I've watched it maybe 3 or 4 times already.
Yeah, I have to go back and give it another watch. What did Creatures in the Night here? Great job, you guys. You rattled off a few films I've never heard of that I have to go back and check out. Coffee Table and Yule Log. Back to back, you say. Yes, Coffee Table I haven't seen. Watch both Yule Log movies. You will not be disappointed.
Yes. Yeah, they are. Yule Log 2 is a direct sequel to the first one.
You have to watch part 1.
Yes.
So
yes, you have to watch part 1 first. You absolutely have to. Yes.
Yule Log. Listen, I can't wait for Yule Log 3.
And they're both on HBO.
Yeah, both are on HBO Max. Yep.